Hello everybody. Today I got a special treat for you. This is a Seiko SARG009. This is my first real quality timepiece, and I'm very happy to bring it to you. I bought it in September of 2016 and I've had it for about half a year now. So I'd like to give you some close-up shots of it and maybe share some of my impressions of the watch. So a close-up of the dial. Pretty cool, pretty interesting. This is a made-in-Japan watch from Seiko, designed only for the Japanese domestic market. But thankfully there were some people, some companies that exported them to countries like the USA, and so we were able to get them over here. Pretty interesting dial. I was looking for a watch just like this, and the Hamiltons, the khakis, the field watches, they came pretty highly recommended, but then so did the Seikos. And I heard so many good things about some of these entry-level Seikos that I actually almost decided on one of their SARG lines, a more of a dress watch. But then I found this and I said, oh my goodness, I had to try it. Close-up of the dial. So we have hour markers, and all of them are lumed. Then you have a nice little second hand with white paint and a little dot at the opposite end, and then the minute and hour hands also have lume. Black dial. If you look closely at some angles, you can actually see a sunburst effect. You can see it right there. See how it goes around? It's subtle, and when you're outside you'll notice it, and sometimes inside you'll also notice it, but it's subtle. Now this watch, the SARG009, it's almost identical to the SARG011. The only real difference is the 11 came from the factory on a leather strap, black leather, whereas this came on a stainless steel band. On this watch, the second hand has white paint, whereas the 11 has red paint. And this one has the sunburst effect, whereas the 11 is just a flat black dial. I would have enjoyed the red second hand. I thought that would have been cool, nice little splash of color, but ultimately I wanted to get this one with that nice sunburst effect, and I'm very happy that I did. I think it's really interesting. Otherwise, though, they're the same watch, as far as I can tell. The Seiko logo is applied. It's metallic, so it reflects the light at different angles. It's very easy to tell the time on this watch. There's no guessing. The numbers are big, very easy to read, and there's actually a ring around the hour markers for the minutes or the seconds. And if you look closely, they're actually subdivided into roughly 6 divisions, which actually line up perfectly with the beats of this watch. It's pretty cool. Nice little feature they added that I really enjoy. The crystal is sapphire. Very scratch resistant. The previous owner and myself, no scratches were put on this crystal itself. So it lives up to that reputation. And that was one of the things that I really wanted in my first, quality timepiece. I got sick of having cheap digital Timex watches with plastic faces that kept getting all these scratches. So I wanted one with sapphire. But this is a domed sapphire crystal. If you look at it edge on, it looks pretty flat. It doesn't really have much of a curvature, but I think they dome the inside of it or something, but it gives it this beautiful lens effect. From all angles, you get this nice lens effect. And I think it's interesting. It gives the watch a little more like a three-dimensionality to it. For somebody that likes science, lenses, and optics and photography, I think this is really interesting. I love this domed crystal. Can't get enough of that. I love that. So cool. The lugs and the bezel itself are a brushed stainless steel, but it's still pretty reflective. And then if you look very carefully, I don't know how well you're going to see this, but Seiko does a nice job. They give it a tiny little bit of high polish, just the tiniest bit. So the whole bezel is not brushed. It's mostly brushed, and then there's this tiny little high polish piece. It's, you know, somebody took some effort and did this real nice. The sides are all high polished. This watch has seen some use, so it's got a few dings and nicks on it, but still high polished. Here you have that nice Seiko logo on the crown. Beautiful, almost like a snake symbol. Going to the back, again you have more high polished all around. And they put this nice little window on the back so you get to see inside of the watch. Some people say it's not the most fancy, but I think it's nice. They did this nice reflective effect on the rotor. You can see how it reflects the light. Beautiful. And I think it's interesting. You get to see the movement moving, the spring oscillating back and forth, the little jewels. I think it's very interesting. This crystal on the back is not sapphire, it's hard lux. And this does have some scratches on it. Some actually pretty good sized scratches. Let's see if I can get it for you. You can see right there it's a scratch. I don't know. Right here is another big scratch. So hard lux, or hard lux, however you say it. There, you can definitely see it right there. It is scratch resistant, but it scratches. You know, to the teeth it almost does feel like a mineral, but the way it scratches is almost like a plastic when it does scratch. It's weird. Which is interesting because a lot of the, you know, more entry-level Seiko diver watches have hard lux for the actual main crystal itself. And I don't know. You'd still have to pamper that, or else you might get scratches. But this is on the back of the watch, so no big deal. I think it's still cool that you get to see inside. You know, it's very nice. If it were metal, it wouldn't have made much difference to me. Okay, 6R15. This is Seiko's movement that, as far as I can tell, they themselves produce. Has a nice little power reserve. I never really have to worry about it running out. Just use it daily, and if you don't use it for a day or so, just wind it up a few times before night and it works good. Made in Japan? Heck yeah. Nice little magnet symbol. So this has some magnet resistant properties to it. How much it can withstand, I don't know. I wouldn't bring this around any powerful magnets. Seiko, water resistant to 10 bar, so roughly 100 meters, and stainless steel. Pretty cool, huh? 23 jewels. I really like it. I think the dial has kind of, well, it's definitely utilitarian. It's made to be used. And that's why I bought this watch, to actually use it. But if we go beyond that, I think it almost has more of like a German style to it. You know, this is something I could see like being made in Germany in the 40s or 30s or 50s. I think it's really cool. I mean, it even comes down, once you get to look at this watch a lot, you get to see these little details, like the one, it's not just a vertical one, it has this nice little flag on it. And same thing here with the 4. It also has little flags. I have no idea what you call this. I'm sure some of you can point this out. But the 6, it's not just a 6. It has this nice shape to it. Very elegant. I think it's very classy. It does have the date, and it's framed in this nice little metal box that, depending on the light, it catches it and it reflects the light, which is really cool. I like how they did that. They put a lot of detail into this watch. I'm really impressed, especially considering the price point. Back when you could get these new, they were going for about $390. I saw Saya Japan had it on sale for about $390. Long Island Watches had it for about $430. MSRP on this, well, it was 50,000 yen. And as of May of 2017, that's roughly $450. So it's even at that price, it's a phenomenal value, I think. You're getting so much with this. Domed sapphire crystal, beautiful quality, it feels so sturdy. Love the design. A lot of effort and time went into making this watch, I can tell. When I bought it used. Found it on a forum, watchyouseek.com. Paid $260, got it shipped to me. And I'm very happy with this. For that price, it came with a couple of dings. Some scratches on the bezel, on the lugs, couple of dings. But it doesn't bother me. This watch I purchased to use, and I've been using it, and I'm sure I've added my own little dings to the watch, but it gives it character. And, you know, for the price of $260, wonderful, wonderful value, I think. I have it on a black leather strap. This is made by Calareb from Italy, made in Italy. This is their Sienna Aviator, 20 millimeters. That nice R logo on the buckle. Pretty cool. Very nice quality. It's a little bit chunky. Comes in at about 3 millimeters thick, and that's about the limit of what I would wear. Anything more, and you know, it throws off the proportions of the watch and it starts to feel a little bit weird. I prefer maybe just the tiniest thinner, but on the wrist, it's extremely comfortable. I don't even notice I have this watch on. And that's another nice benefit of this. Even though it is solid, a lot of metal, when you put it on a leather strap like this, it only weighs about 85 grams. This one comes in at 85.1. So not heavy at all. Some more specs, if I get out the calipers. Okay. It's not a small watch, and it's not an excessively large watch. It's that Goldilocks range. The bezel itself's coming in around about 40.5, about 41 millimeters. Let's see, let me make sure I get a good value. Yeah, it's around 40.5 or 41 millimeters. Thickness, I think I measured it to be about 12.5 millimeters. Yep, roughly 12.5. And the strap itself, 20 millimeters. Lug to lug, roughly, let's see, about 48 millimeters, lug to lug. I'm 6 feet tall. I have a bit of girth to me, and so when I put this on the wrist, it feels very good, looks very natural, but it's big enough to have presence, and it's very easy to read. I like how it's not excessively thick, and so if I wear a long sleeve shirt with a sport jacket over it, not a problem. For my size wrists, it doesn't come all the way out to the edges. I still have some room, which is very nice. And the watch itself has a nice little curvature to it on both sides, so it really forms to your wrist very nicely. Never had a single comfort issue with this leather strap or the watch itself. Shake it around, doesn't really make any noises. You don't really feel the rotor moving at all. They did a very nice job with this watch. I love it. It came with a stainless steel strap from Seiko. I might roll in some footage here. And so here it is on the stainless steel strap. It's an interesting strap. It's extremely smooth. Very smooth. The sides are a high polish, and the links are held in place by pins. It almost looks like, if I zoom in close, almost looks like screws, but they're not, they're pins. And then the inside and outside of the links are a nice brushed finish with the Seiko clasp. You have 2 buttons, you can push them in, and you get this beautiful machined deploying clasp. Very, very high quality, good feel. When they come together, you get that nice click sound. It looks good, and it feels good. My only complaint with this strap, besides being a little bit heavier than the leather, is there really isn't a whole lot of adjustment. You only have full-size links. There are no half links. And so besides adjusting, adding or removing links, the only thing else is just this one little adjustment between here and here. That's the only fine adjustment you have, and it's actually a big difference. It's not really, I don't think you could call that a micro adjustment. And so there were some days that, depending on the weather, depending on my weight, it was just either a little bit too tight or a little bit too loose. But still looks good. Here's a picture of it on the wrist. I think it looks good on the metal strap, the metal band. If it fits properly, it feels very nice. I just wish it had a little bit more control of the sizing. Clasp does have a little bit of a catch on it. A little bit, but it's not terrible, but it's there. And now I think the previous owner used it with the metal band quite a bit because it's got quite a lot of wear on it. So it does scruff up easily. You can see there. But overall, still looks good. One other thing to note with the bracelet is if we come over to this side, Seiko put a little bit of a relief cut on the edges. Let's see, there you can see it. It's a little bit of a relief cut. And so when this closes up, and it's on your wrist, it's not a square piece. It's got this nice little curvature to it. And I think it's just enough to add a little bit more comfort to the bracelet. You know, for a pretty affordable watch, it's not a bad bracelet. Again, very smooth. I heard that this is a step up from the bracelets you get on the SARB lines, and you know, I can believe it. It's pretty nice. If it just had a tiny bit more adjustability, oh, what a beautiful bracelet for the price. This was the leather strap that came on the watch from the previous owner. It's a nice brown leather, a little bit of black color on the back with white stitching. The information is worn off, so I have no idea who made it, but it's extremely comfortable. By far the most comfortable strap I've ever worn. And it's seen some use. It definitely has some wear on it, which is pretty cool. My big thing was I didn't quite think the brown matched with the black and white dial. It's cool, I like it, but I think the black fits it better. But still interesting. Let me show it to you on the wrist. Here you go. Supremely comfortable. Love this. Really nice. That was very comfortable, but at the end of the day, I think the black leather with the white strip stitching really fits and matches with the dial. It really looks like one complete piece now. Really like it. Very nice. Some more features of the watch. It is an automatic watch, but you can self-wind it. The crown has an extremely smooth and precise feel, and it makes a real nice sound. It's not a screw-down crown, and so Seiko says it's good for 100 meters, and I believe it is, but it's not going to be one that I'm going to wear into a swimming pool. For that, I'd want something with a screw-down crown, but it's very nice. Pull out the crown to the first detent, and you can quickly adjust the date. Pull it out all the way, and the second hand stops, so it's hackable, and you can quickly and smoothly adjust the hands. Push it back in, and there you go. Speaking of the hands, I love these. The second hand goes all the way out and overlaps this ring of numbers. Then the minute hand itself goes all the way out and just barely touches it. And then the hour hand just goes all the way out and just barely touches the numbers of the hours. which is really nice. I've seen some watches where the hands are a little bit small. And so with this one you don't have to guess at all. It's very clear where they are. And I mean, again, Seiko, good job. The hands are metal, and so at the right angle you get this nice little reflection off of it. It's pretty cool. And if you start looking in close on the numbers, you can see the lume, and it's pretty thickly applied, so the dial itself has, again, a nice three-dimensionality to it. It has nice depth. Very nice. Speaking of the lume, let's switch over to a lume shot. Okay, here you go, with the watch charged up. Seiko is known for their lumen. This is very impressive. They're not radioactive, so you do have to charge it with ambient light. But it lasts for a long time. I was actually very surprised. At night when I go to bed, I'll have my bedroom light on for a few minutes, shut it off, and if I wake up like 7 hours later, if it's still dark in the room, I can still see the time very easily. Very nice. With this, having the numbers loomed, there's no guesswork in it. You know what time it is. You don't have to say, oh, okay, what's the 6 o'clock? What's the 12 o'clock? And get your bearings there. Here, it's obvious. One of the interesting things is you see the white on the second hand. I thought that would have been lume, but it's not. It's just white paint. But opposite of that, this little ball, that's where the lume actually is. I don't know how well the camera picks it up, but the white of the second hand is actually white. And everything else is kind of a cream color. And again, having that kind of cream look to it, it just reminds me of a vintage timepiece. Really classy. I love this watch. Unfortunately, I don't know why, but Seiko has now discontinued this along with the SARG009. Not sure why. Maybe it wasn't selling good or what, but a fantastic piece. If you can find a nice one used for a reasonable price, definitely. Definitely. I don't think you'll go wrong with this. Really classy. For me, this watch has sentimental value. It was the first real watch that I went out, researched, and picked up. It was between this and one of the Seiko SARG lines, the 033, or possibly the 035. But at the end of the day, I fell in love with the design of this, and I'm very happy to have it. If I nitpick, what would I like to see? Well, two things. If the watch had a screw-down crown, that would alleviate my worries about getting it wet. I mean, really wet. I don't worry if it's in the rain. That doesn't bother me, but if I bring it into a swimming pool, I would like to have a screw-down crown. And the only other thing is it does not have an anti-reflective coating on the crystal. But, as you can see, I think, for most angles, it looks very crisp. A very vibrant black dial. Now, I do have some oil on the face of it, and I'm in some studio lighting, so, you know, it really accentuates that, but for almost all angles, it's pretty darn clear. Out in normal sunlight, you don't even notice it. There really isn't a whole lot of glare, and This was something I was very worried about with getting a black dial without anti-reflective coating, but not a problem. If they offered the option of an AR coating for $100, yeah, I would have done it. But with Seiko, to get the AR coating, you pretty much have to double the price. You're starting to look at watches around $600, $800, and for me, I didn't want to make that jump initially. I think as I purchase other watches, yeah, sure. Someday I might get a diver watch, someday I might get a dress watch, but this one, I plan to keep it forever. I expect it's going to last my lifetime and going to be something that I can hand down to future generations. My first quality timepiece, one that I can be proud to wear and that actually is very functional. Well, that's probably about all I can say about it. I hope you get some nice views of the watch. Maybe I answered some of your questions, or if not, if you have more questions, feel free to contact me, and I'll try and help if I can. Have a wonderful day, guys. Hope this was helpful.